You're listening to Productivity Monsters in the Morning. We are the energy volt your real estate business needs to get you up and out and excited and productive for the day. We go over trending topics and things that really matter in the market of the moment. Here are your hosts, Tiffany Hampton and Brooke Silva.
Good morning.
Good morning, friend.
It is Friday.
It is Friday, but we have a short weekend because we hop on a plane and go to Texas this week for this is probably one of my favorite newer events that Keller Williams is doing for us because it's all about us as leaders. Like, it's called Mega Leadership. And we don't have to be on. Like, we don't have to like people as much as we normally do.
What I love about this event is that, well, what I love about my world is that I have 27 market centers that I can go play and hang out with.
Yeah, me too.
It's really cool. Like, I'm not stuck with one anymore. Not personal. I love Portland, but
No, but it's amazing that when you get out and the things you hear that other people are doing in other market centers, there's things you like, there's things you dislike. But I think that is the most favorite part of my job. It's the beginning of Q1, and I've already made 22 market center visits. I was doing all my reports and everything last night. I track everything. I've already made 22 market center visits in Q2. Q2 just started.
I was going to say, it's, what is it, like May? Oh, it's Cinco de Mayo.
Right? But like, that's the amount of, in the winter, you and I don't get to be on the road as much to everywhere as we normally would, so we kind of back off. But when the snow is gone and it's safer to travel, or things don't get canceled from snow or ice storms, being in the market centers is the heart of what we do. And if I love that I'm an RTT that has that drivability, like many of my friends,
They have to get on planes.
Plan right there. They're on planes to get around their regions. One of my friends is we call ourselves the earmuffs, because she's all the way in like Washington. She's got Alaska, all those states, Iowa, some weird little places. She's like, that's a 9-hour plane ride for me, friend. Like, she's like, I don't have the ability to just pop in like you do. And I do like pop-bys. I go say hi, I stop into business centers, mega agent offices. But that's the pulse of what people need. Oh, and am I grateful for a New England region that is drivable every single day.
100%. You know, I was on a call yesterday and they were talking about how people are bored with content, bored with doing the same thing over and over again. And we talked about this a little bit, like, if you're not bored, then you're not doing the right things, because you're supposed to do the repetition and do the same thing over and over again. And the contents of this was like, how do you change the name of the trainings? Because, like, let's just look at KW, right? Like, we teach the MREA book. We teach the one thing, right? Like, it's the same systems models. It doesn't matter what market we're in. You just zig and zag a little bit, but it's all the same models and systems. So, and again, like the coaches I have in my life, Matt Teeter, we have the 6 personal perspectives, right? And the 6 personal perspectives is, no matter what you're doing in life, you apply the 6 personal perspectives and you will succeed in it. So it's, how do you change the name, the title, the appearance, so you get a little juice?
And that's, so when I came to KW as a whole, like, just as the person I am with zero real estate background outside of helping my husband run his real estate business and deals and do everything, come from a sales background, but I come from an educational one in the private education sector. And we mainly worked with private ed, K through all the way up to high school. But the little ones were our bread and butter, working with the teachers at these private education places. They teach the same exact thing, but each teacher puts their own personality on things. So when I came to KW and started gamifying things and dressing up in costumes and people are like, you're reinventing the wheel. But finally now, when like leaders sit in my classes and they see what I'm doing, they're like, oh, you're just putting a different wrapper on a Hershey bar, right? Like I am teaching the systems and the models, but sometimes as adults, we still need to be entertained. There's a course that just came out called Teaching Through Laughter. I was like, oh, I need to go. I lived through that. Like that is, you come to one of my classes, it's dinner and a show, because we're going to laugh through getting through things. But we have to gamify things. We do it for our kids. We do it for others in our life, but we don't do it for ourselves sometimes. So when I got here and I was like, oh, this is boring. People don't come to classes because it's the same thing over and over, but sometimes you need a new voice to teach the same things to change the energy.
Yep.
And I have energy. I have boundless energy.
Do you have energy? I think you have energy. And that's like the benefit of like you and I, right? Because they get a little bit of you, they get a little bit of me, and it's always different and they never know what they're going to get. It depends on the day. Right?
There is. But you know it's going to be fun, right? That's the difference is when somebody now sees my name on a flyer, and it's still weird to me to walk into somewhere and see my name in a little picture and I'm like, that's me, you know, like, and it's the silliest thing. But when people see that and they go, oh, I'm changing things so I can be at that class, that feels good because it means you're excited to be there. You're happy. You know you're going to learn something. Yep. And it's funny. Somebody posted this morning. One of my friends is an educator. He's one of the most respected, awarded educators in the public school system around here. I adore this gentleman. He posted a picture of why kids aren't succeeding in standardized tests with this report that like blows things open, right? This is not new information. But this morning it like triggered something in me because I am not good at standardized tests. I'm not good at test taking, period. I would freeze when I was younger when it was like times tables and they like set the clock and they were like, finish as many problems as you can. Frozen. Like I wasn't even moving. I couldn't even put my name on the paper. And it reminded me of how our adults also had that bias in learning from things that happened to them growing up.
Yep.
Right? Like how many times do I look at something that I want to do, but I don't do it because knowing there's going to be a timed test or something that's so rigid at the end that I feel like an idiot for having to get a doctor's note to remove something so that I'm not frozen, because I will freeze. It doesn't matter what the test is, I will freeze. It's awful.
And I look at Christopher, right? Like Christopher has a lot of me in him, but he has a lot of his father in him. And one of the things, like, he gets bored so easily, and he gets this from both of us. He gives you that look when you just like, are you wasting my time? Like math, Common Core math these days, right? Like this kid, and I get it, this kid can absolutely solve the problem in his head and doesn't need to put it down on paper. And it's been that way since second grade, like when Common Core math was a thing. And if you push him too far, he suppresses. And when we look at our agents, when we push them to do quote unquote what we're supposed to be doing, they push back. So how do you challenge? How do you make it fun? How do you every single day? And we've been working through this 14 components of engagement, right? And it's very much what you talk about is if there's not engagement, they're not going to take action. And how do we deliver engagement? And to your point is have a lot of fun, right?
Right. And I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I know not everybody can learn from me. But at the end of the day, we've got to do something that's going to start pulling people back in and changing their minds about things. I don't know if I was saying this to you or someone else. It was yesterday on our thing. In order for me to learn, I have to read it, I have to hear it, and then I have to write it. But some people are visual learners where they have to watch and watch and watch and do. Some people just get things and they get up and go. But the other piece about action in classes is accountability, right? So I can drop in, you can drop in, we can teach these fabulous classes. But as the leaders in our world, what are you doing to make sure that the people are doing those things when we leave? Because I do fall. If somebody says to me, I am going to do this, and they're loud about it, I put a little note on my page. I set up tasks and then I hound them. Right? I hound them to see how they're doing. And it's a blast. And they're like, we need this all the time. I'm like, you need a coach. You need a coach, because that's what they do.
Well, and I'm going through this whole process of figuring out what my coaching world is going to look like. And I'm doing NLP and certified executive coaching right now. I know,
It's
because
a lot.
I don't have enough on my plate. Let's just
Yeah, right. Let's just add a couple more certs. Good job.
And I appreciate what happened 20, 30 years ago. And I understand that's the baseline. However, how do you deliver the baseline differently?
You have to. Yeah, I think it all comes down to relationships. I think one of my favorite things is that I leave classes with new friends. Right? I'm not like a speaker who comes in, drops some truth bombs and leaves, and you never hear from me again. I think one of the best things about our world is the relationships we create within KW New England or throughout our entire real estate family. And that trust comes in. But then we need the peer pressure and the raving fans to pick up. And that's how I think a lot of the people end up in my classes, is because phone a friend. Yeah, you have to sit in one of Brooke's classes. You have to come when Tiffany's here, right? This is what I learned. I think sometimes we also need that unique set of peer pressure that you can get from adults in your world that you wouldn't be able to get elsewhere. Especially if people are like, I know everything there is about contacts. Do you? Then why does your database suck?
Yeah, because and this is because they know how it works. And that's a huge piece. Like me, the way my brain works, I can put the path in the math and like I understand how it works. It's dangerous. Like I could do any job in the ecosystem. I shouldn't.
Right.
And number two, there are times when I'm like, okay, but I'm a procrastinator and I just don't want to. And if you don't have people in your life that are like, it's the 4 quadrants.
Right.
Right? Positive present, negative present, positive future, negative future, right? If you don't have people reminding you of, well, that's great. And yes, you do know how to do it. And if you don't do it, these are the results. And that's where you and I come in. And we do it so differently. Like you're fun about it. And I'm just like, yeah.
You know what's funny is I don't even realize some people are doing it to me. Like I'll have conversations with friends who are at this, we're on the same playing field for what we do for our agents and stuff, and they'll say something, and then like an hour will go by, and I'm like, I was just coached. I don't like that. Like, I'm like, because they're like, well, Brooke, what happens if you don't actually finish this project? And I was like, oh.
Well, and I teach at my church. I'm part of the elementary group, and the person that leads it, she's so funny because we'll go out to lunch or breakfast or something, and she's like, you don't realize it, but you ask great questions and you're my coach and you don't even realize, because it's just program. Like it's programming.
And I think good coaches are naturally curious anyway about everyone in their lives. And we don't mean to probably be practicing on the people in our life, but I think because we're all so naturally curious, is your dog going to lose it? Yeah. I think because we are so naturally curious as humans, that's what makes good coaches. Curiosity, because we are unrelenting in that curiosity where we're going to dig and dig and dig, because we just got to know. Don't leave us hanging. We're those people that are like, hey, I have something to tell you, but I can't tell you till later. You did that to me the other day. You're like, I'll talk to you about it later. And I was like,
I know, it's so bad.
Yeah. Well, I am too busy to deal with this, but now this, I want to know now.
Right?
Like, I'm like, and I think that's the other thing is when you learn to ask those great questions, changes the dynamic of a relationship too. When we're in those classes and I say, well, why is this so important to you for your business? And I make people think about, okay, now what would your client think of this? Are you coming at things from a client side, or are you coming from an agent brain? Who does this benefit? I think when you start asking bigger questions, that's when people also start to respect you. You're not spouting info. You're not the teacher in the peanuts in the front of the room.
Well, and you're spicy. You just hide it well.
I am salty. There's a difference. There's a reason I have a salty nickname. It's because I know it's in there, and I know people know to do the right things. But they are so blinded by what they think they should be doing versus in what other people are doing. You know, they know the models, they know the systems. I have somebody's like, well, how come none of this stuff is local data? Why do they only give us this and this and this? And I'm like, who cares about the data?
Yep.
Like, seriously, what percentage of your clientele cares about market stats? Very. If you look at the disc personality, very, very few people care about market stats in a daily. We have to make people understand why these are important to them. We can't just spout market stats. Like, please don't ever send me market stats. One, I can't see it. I'll just throw up. Like, I hate that. But I need to know them, and I need to understand the data so I can have intelligent conversations. Same thing for our agents. But worrying about something as little as why an email has national data and not hyper-local data is ridiculous.
I love it.
I am salty. I am spicy. I am.
Yeah.
There's a reason I get all kinds of salt stuff from people and salty hats. And it's because I know you're better than that.
Yeah.
I
know. And we'll end it on this. I remember, shush. I think we'll end it on this.
Your dog is salty.
My dog is salty. She wants what she wants when she wants it. Yeah. I wonder where she gets that from.
Chris, the Sasquatch.
But you know, when I first met, before I knew you, when we were on those MCTT calls, and ow, my fingers, and I was trying to figure out what the world was going to look like with you, I was like, I don't know if I like her.
It's because I ask really hard questions too, like you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I make you think in a way that you do not enjoy sometimes.
All right, my friend, I need to deal with my lovely, wonderful jerky dog.
Oh, that dog. Well, you have a great weekend. I'll see you Sunday. Friends, we are not around next week. I know you're going to miss us, but we will be back on Thursday with all kinds of fun information for you. Possibly it's our red day. So if not, we'll see you next week at some time. Fly safe. I'll see you Sunday.
Bye.